The Sun City 400 is the third race in the 2007 ABSA Off-Road Championship Series, and for most teams, this is it, make or break. For those who have scored valuable championship points, this is where they have to build on that good start. And for those who haven't, well, the pressure is on to open their accounts.
This year, we've got something different. We're moving the pit area to the parking area adjacent to the motocross track, which is tarred, and we won't have that much dust, and it's more accessible for spectators. And I think they will see more of the vehicles pre-race and after the race. And we have the ceremonial start up at the complex. From where on we're going to move down across the tar road and start the event proper.
And the event proper will be over 400 excruciating kilometers on a route that is tough.
This year we're doing something different with the route. Instead of having two identical loops, we're going to do two loops of roughly 120 kilometers, followed by a loop of 180 kilometers, and all of which will go through the motocross track here at Sun City. So it will offer spectator value. And then the route outside, as we all know, it is by now, it is accessible for spectators. It's very spectator friendly. It's not long distances you've got to travel to see the cars. All the roads are tarred, and I think it'll bring something to the people, to the communities, to see racing on their doorstep.
And the racing will be close and cutthroat, judging by the previous round's tight results in the Nissan Kluklui 400, where just seconds separated the top placings. But all the competitors will be watching Hannes Grobler, the defending and four-time national champ, who again clinched victory in KwaZulu-Natal, his 22nd win in 50 starts in the last 6 years. The Nissan Navara driver is a legend, not only in this facet of the sport, but also in rallying. We caught up with him during one of his infrequent breaks to find out what makes the burly 51-year-old tick along so quickly.
Well, I was always interested in motorsport, and when I was at school I watched the old Total Rally, and I was also an enduro bike fanatic, so from small I've built my own little bikes and just ride them on the farm. And but I was a big rugby player, you know, and I wanted to play for the national team one day, you know, and I think it's like any young guy, I wanted to make it a success and to become a Springbok. And because of my love for the bikes, I fell off the bike one day and I tore all my ligaments in my knee. And the technology wasn't probably there at that days, what they've had today. And I've never had an operation, and my rugby career was basically over. So I decided to make my hobby, that was motorsport, or my second love. I decided to try and get my national colours with that. And that's how I basically started in motorsport. And I started basically in the Free State, started with sealed odor rallies, and then I went to special stages, because the sealed odor I didn't like, because it was all depends on the navigator. If we make a mistake, then you're out, or you lower down the field. And I thought, yeah, with special stage events, you know, a lot more depend on what I am doing behind the steering wheel and the car. And that's how I started. And you know, we got one day in Kroonstad, they had like a club event, and that was basically my first special stage event that they invited me to. And we won that on the first outing with basically a standard 160U Triple S, you know. And that night we couldn't believe that we won it when we were at the prize giving. We thought, yeah, that we were disqualified when they got to third and second place overall. And as I said, I couldn't believe that we won it. And from there on, I just entered in the first national. That was the Molly Slip Rally in those days. And we came 11th overall. Me and Art Kriel from Welkom, we came 11th overall on the rally. We wasn't too happy. There was 40 finishers out of 60 or 70 entries. And we thought, yeah, we'll give Sarel a go right in the beginning with this car. You know, I know there was never a chance that I could get close to it, you know. And Menno Havelaar convinced me that I must just go on, and there's a big future for me. And we started to build our own rally cars from there on. I took my car that we basically used as a vehicle to go to work and back, build a roll cage in it. My daughters was hanging on the roll cage Sundays when we went to church. And on weekends I took the seat out, put spare wheel in, toolbox in. We didn't have any service crew, and we went to the rallies, and that year I won the South African Amateur Championship with it.
In a long and very impressive career such as his, Hannes had trouble picking a highlight. After all, it has been 30 years at the top of his sport, but he eventually picked a granddaddy of them all and a double title in 1 year.
I think one of my highlights was probably the Dakar, to do the Dakar. But in '86 it was to win the South African Championship, and winning the South African Rally Championship and the off-road in 1 year was just unbelievable. It's getting your national colours for that was just unbelievable. I was also lucky to get my national colours again in 98, 99, my Protea colours. They issued them to me after winning the production championship again. So I've basically got my Springbok colours and also my Protea colours, and be part of it.
But what would his preference be? We for once backed Hannes into a corner and asked him to make a choice. Which one of the 3 disciplines?
By choice, the guys always ask me if I've got a top rally car, a top off-road car and a top race car, which one will I choose? If I've got a choice of only taking one, I'll go back to rallies. Because rallies is just something different, you're driving like 12 tens on gravel roads, you have to be very sharp all the time, and that adrenaline, you can't tell anybody what it's like on a rally stage to drive 12 tens all the time, On off-roads, something different. That's basically really my second choice, is that you must know your vehicles, you must know the capability of the vehicle, you must know your capability, and you must get that vehicle to the end. After rally stages, you service after every 20 kilometers, you can repair the car if you do damage. With the off-road going for 500 kilos, with the Dakar going 4,000 kilos for the day, looking after your vehicle is very important. Track racing, I love. Anything with wheels that rolls, I love to drive. It's something different, when you do 3, 4, 5 laps, the track, and yeah, it's nice. If I can do all 3 of them, I'll do all 3 of them. But I just think the track is something that I love to do on top of all the others, and as an extra, But yeah, off-road at the moment is good for me. I think my experience is counting on the off-road, and I'm trying to give a lot back to younger people, talking to them about off-road, and they don't really always understand. You must drive mostly with your head, and not always with your heart when you're doing off-road. With rallying, you do 50-50, both. You must have your head and your heart into it.
So now we know off-road is all just pedal to the metal, but how does he get away from it all?
Yeah, I've got a few hobbies, and my hobbies involve everything that's got wheels. So even from bicycles, I'm a keen mountain bike rider, not in competition form but to keep myself a bit fit. I've got a bike that I do some riding with my friends on weekends. It keeps you sharp, and I've had for a long time a quad that also keeps you sharp. And also what I'm doing at the moment is I'm trying to get off, convince Nissan to give me one of the old Class T trucks, that one of the first ones that we've ever built here for the Dakar, that was lying there in the corner, and I've convinced him to give it to me, and we've rebuilt it. And I'm doing like client days. A lot of people during my years in motorsport always ask you, how's it feeling to be in there? And when they're talking at events to you, and after events, they said they wish they'll ever get a chance to have a ride in one of those vehicles, and I've just decided to give a bit back into motorsport, and I got this hard body and I rebuilt it, and I'm doing client days these days. The only problem is it's expensive, and I haven't got sponsorships for it. So the guys are basically paying me to go there you know, I must also make a bit of money with it. And I go out and I took people out on like a 3-kilometer drive like Yerotech down in the Cape. I talk about motorsport, tell them how I started with motorsport, tell them what it's like on the Dakar, you know. You won't believe it how many kids the parents are bringing to have a ride with me, you know, and it's just unbelievable. We had just a thing that I went down to Cape Town, to Vredendal, and we went to about 3 or 4 schools that I took the headmaster in the car just for a drive down the tar road and back again, with all the kids out there on the rugby field looking at the car, telling them what it's all about. They sitting in the car, I put them behind the wheel, you know, and they just sitting there for photographs, whatever, you know, and that's what I try to do these days as well, you know, to bring it over to the kids. Because with the kids there, you don't sell the car tomorrow or the day after that, but in 10 years' time, you convince them to buy the right car.
Vehicle and asset finance from Absa.